Is today the day that Nvidia takes on new all-time highs? We need to talk about it in this video. I'm going to go through a technical analysis view for you for Nvidia, but first I'm going to stop by the indices SPY, QQQ, IWM, tracking the S&P 500, Nasdaq 100, and Russell 2000 stocks. I'll also give an update on Tesla and Bitcoin as well, as each of those are very much worth tracking right now. So let me pop this up here on screen for you, kick things off with SPY, and let me just say that today, pre-market hours trading up a little bit from what we saw yesterday. And the reason for that, I think the biggest reason are the Taiwan Semiconductor earnings that we saw with a very nice beat. Also talking about starting its fabrication of its parts in Arizona, which actually takes away some of the China risk, which is actually a very bullish thing, not only for the markets, because it reduces some of the China risk and then helps out with AI, but also should be a boon to Nvidia and Apple as well, as it's going to be producing chips for both of them at its Arizona plant starting in 2025. So excellent earnings from Taiwan Semiconductor, putting the juice in the markets. Right now, pre-market, we're sitting right around this 585 line that I have on here, 584.71 right now. As I record this video, we might have that green light up to 591. We're going to have to watch and see. We'll see if the regular trading hours treat this news just as well as what we had during the pre-market hours. So let's move over from there over to the Qs. For the Qs, we might actually be back to that $500 price tag. We're currently up above this 492 level that I have marked on here. You guys can see the rejection we got off the rising wedge pattern. We caught support down here at the 13 twice yesterday and the day before that. So today we could be pushing up to that 502 mark that's up here in the pre-market hours. We're at 495. So we'll see if we can finally break up above that rising wedge top resistance trend line that we have on here onto the next historic, well, I should say historic based Fibonacci extension line of 502.37. Let's move on from there over to IWM. I said yesterday that watch out for the rejection off at the top of this trend line from the previous peaks, and that's pretty much what we got. We got really darn close to that trend line. Now, mind you, if we go look at the in between the extended hours, so after hours or pre-market hours, maybe we actually did get there, but during the regular trading hours, we peaked out at 227.17. That trend line, if I put my cursor and crosshairs right on it, we're within like 30 cents of where that trend line is. Today, watch for us to retest that, possibly push up above it, especially if what we get today with TSMC's earnings is the boon that I think it is for the AI stocks. So without further ado, let's get into Nvidia. Nvidia's all-time high, 140.76. I actually have that pasted on here for you. We got within $1 of that during the pre-market hours this morning. We have lots of resistance to the north of that, but getting up in there would be a very, very solid thing for us in order to do. Let me turn this line green. There we go. So getting up to that line, I think today could be that day. Maybe we drop down at first, sell off a little bit of profit taking, who knows? But I think that today's that day that we put in that new all-time high based on what we had, taking away some of the China risk from Nvidia and really finding just more places in order to do that manufacturing. So onshore in the United States, which can also help out in terms of sanctions as well. That it should be a good time overall, a win for TSM, for Nvidia, for Apple. So let's move on from there, and for U.S. jobs, as a matter of fact, being that it's in Arizona. But let's move on from there. For Nvidia, I think we can get that. If we can break up into this area up here, I think we could potentially push through the 142 line. We're going to have to look and see. If we do, we have room up to 145, then 146 before we finally get into this big free rise area up to 152.90, which was one of my price predictions last earnings for over the 6 to 12 months that we were able to make it up to that 152. I think the other one was around 177, or maybe it was 166. I'm going to have to go back and blow the dust off of that to see where we could potentially go leading up to this next earnings call that we get, especially if this put more wind in the sails of the bulls. So Bitcoin, where do we find ourselves with Bitcoin? There we go. Check this out. From yesterday, we had this candle forming up right here, this green candle. I said this was a resistance area up to the top of this, and we blew through the first resistance, made it into the second, didn't make the third, tumbled back down today, showing that rejection from this resistance area. So yesterday closed down below that resistance, today tumbling back a little bit. As long as we don't make it back down to this floor down here at 66, 365, I think we could see a further push up here, especially if we stay above. As a matter of fact, I'm going to turn that from red over to green, calling that firmly support. Now that we have one full candle above it today, we have to wait and see if it stays support, but watch for us to stay above that level. If we can, that's further bullishness. Maybe it finally activates this price target up here of 70,823. If it can make it through this resistance at 68.6, I think that we have green lights up for another, about $2,000 up to that next level. And up above that, my friends, is where we start to hit 73,000 and we start to get into new all-time high territory, making up into this area of resistance. Pushing through that, we start to see prices like 76 and ultimately up here close to 80,000 as we get up into this area of resistance up here, which I don't even have on my chart yet, but it is something that I would say is something to watch out for. If we can push up through here, I think that we easily make the 70s, and then it's about the taking on the all-time high that we had previously. Watch for a big rejection if we get there, at least initially, and then staying up above support levels and also keeping that momentum going as per the RSI, daily RSI, weekly RSI, monthly RSI, you name it, for Bitcoin. Those are things that we want to watch for, that bullish momentum to keep pushing us through over the longer term, even with short-term falls in the price. Guys, if you want to see these technicals before they hit YouTube, if you want to see what I'm buying and selling, you do so using the link down in the description for the Patreon. Click that, sign up, head on over to the Discord. That's where you'll see the technicals. That's where you'll see my buys and sells. That's where you talk to me and my community members. Lots of additions coming up throughout the next couple of months here. I'm very pleased to be putting out more products and services. I think it's going to make a better experience overall for everybody who is a part of that, and I'm very excited to see you over there. And if you guys want to learn to do this technical analysis yourself, you can do so using the link for Stockmo Academy. Stockmo, Mrs. Mo, they are lifetime educators. I myself have spent my career as an educator, 17 years in so far, and counting, as I am a math teacher with my doctorate in education, and I can fully endorse the way that they have the course designed is really excellent for learning about technical analysis. Small, easy to digest pieces, includes a trading strategy called the bread recipe, which is a tried and true method that, man, it can really put those gains out there. It might not be a winner every time thing, but anybody who claims such a thing, trust me, it's a scam. But this is one that I use myself, and I use it in my trading based on the momentum that we have, the movement of the stock. It really can set up for when we see those massive rises or those massive falls coming, and you can play it in either direction. And best news is you can get it cheaper by using the code word doctor when you sign up, DOCTOR. It's going to give you a massive discount on that course, and it helps support this channel. Guys, thank you for watching. Check out those links. We'll see you in the next video. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we will see you in the next video.